morning, friends. We're back again. It's Fightful Overbooked. We're getting in the weeds. It's Wednesday, May the 24th. I am at Joel Pearl, and of course, we have so much going on today. But the sickest pillar of them all is with me this morning, Jeremy Lambert. How are you, buddy?
I'm hopped up on cold medicine. So
on goofballs.
Yeah, so today should be something. Took just a handful of cold meds. Don't even know what I took, honestly. So who knows what got mixed in there.
That's kind of the best part, though, is you just kind of take a fistful of pills and shove them in your mouth and you hope for the best, and then you feel better in the morning.
It's how it worked in the 90s, right? The 80s and 90s. It's how everybody got by. So I'm throwing back to those days. Everybody wants the 90s to come back. I figured, you know what? Let's do a 90s tribute show by just taking a bunch of pills before this show and see where that got me.
What 90s fashion do you like still subscribe to or wish you would like bring back?
I'm gonna bring back Jenko jeans. That's what I'm bringing back. That was a 90s things, right?
90s, early 2000s, yeah.
Yeah. That's what I'm gonna bring back.
The infamous Hulk Hogan with his Jenko jeans taking his son out in the yellow Lamborghini.
Dude, Kevin Nash wearing FUBU is like a moment that will live forever in the wrestling world, that just people aren't going to understand. Is just Kevin Nash showing up on Nitro with a big old FUBU shirt was just, you can't get that timing back. Yeah, bless Kevin Nash. That man was ahead of his time.
He's talked about this. He's talked about this a lot too. How when the NWO was formed and him and Scott were like, we want to be edgy, we want to be on the forefront of like culture, and we want to bring black culture into wrestling. Like, and yeah, like because Kevin's from Detroit. Like he was part of, he was that. So they were wearing FUBU and they were wearing like all the stuff. And then they brought in Hogan, and Hogan still wanted to do, well, something, brother. And so I remember the story was something like Kevin saying like, okay, we're going to do our thing. And then maybe Hulk, you'll go do yours like a little later and we'll just be behind you. But like, let us do our thing, our cool NWO, like with the times thing. And then you can go brother on a promo elsewhere. I loved that. I thought that was like very smart of Kevin Nash.
Yeah, Hall and Nash both spoke about that on like, there's been a million NWO documentaries at this point, but the one that like WWE put out, like maybe even the first one that they put out, they spoke about that of like, yeah, we had to tell Hulk like, hey man, we ain't doing this WWF over the top brother, say your prayers, take your vitamins type of gimmick here. Like we're trying to, play it straight, play it cool, like just like act like you don't care type of thing. And Hogan he didn't get it at first. He eventually kind of came around to get it until he's wearing hair pieces and talking about, I just came back from the hood where they're like, Wood, you know something, Wood, let me tell you, Wood. He was calling himself Wood in that promo, which it's before the Savage match at I think Halloween Havoc. And he just got off like the Three Ninjas shoot. He's wearing that terrible hairpiece, and he's calling himself Wood in this promo. I'll never forget this promo. It's absurdly NWO Hulk Hogan, and it rules and sucks at the same time. Hulk Hogan he launched like a CBD line with Ric Flair. Now Flair, Tyson, and Hogan just sitting around smoking weed, taking edibles. I'm sure the stories that are told that are 90% not true in that little powwow are amazing.
I wonder if maybe the CBD and the joints and the edibles maybe act as a little bit of truth serum, and they're just sitting, it's just the three of them, and Hulk is just like, brothers, I gotta be honest with you. I never got asked to play bass for Metallica. And then Rick is being like, whoa. Me neither. And then they all laugh. And that's the bit. And
No, it doesn't act as true. Now the lies get bigger when
yes,
those three are on these drugs. Hogan's talking about how he slammed Andre, who is roughly 3,000 pounds at this point, in front of 300,000 people. Flair is talking about selling out arenas and how he went 3 hours and 59 minutes with Ricky Steamboat, and he didn't bleed at all, and he didn't get tired, and then he slept with about 5 dozen women afterwards. Like that's the Flair stories, because the drugs just expand this stuff to become even just bigger lore and bigger myths in their own mind. Tyson never lost to what's his name. He never bit Holyfield's ear. Like none of that ever happened. They're in the drug. That can I just get a podcast of that? I know Flair's been on Tyson's podcast, and Tyson was blitzed out of his mind in that, which absolutely ruled. He couldn't remember a thing. I need Flair, Hogan, and Tyson puff passing on a podcast and just telling stories, brother. They're all lies. All of it's just going to be complete lies. But like, I need this podcast to happen just for the absurd headlines I can get out of it. Hulk Hogan says when he slammed Andre the Giant, it caused an earthquake. Like just some absurd stuff like that. It's like, you know what? On the Richter scale, it was very minor, brother. But they told me after that body slam in Michigan, they said I caused a 0.3 earthquake on the Richter scale. And if you weren't there in the arena, you didn't feel it. But that's what they said. I walked to the back and they're like, that slam was so gigantic. That was a mini earthquake that just happened out there. Like we just see the most absurd stuff. Like that's what I want to hear.
and you know what you call the show? You either call it the Puff Puff Pass Pod, and then everyone just pops their peas for 20 minutes, or you call it the Puff Puff Past Cast, and they're talking about old school stories from their kids, from when they were actively, competing.
Hogan's gonna be on another show that
That
isn't
seems
ours later today, which I look forward to the stories that'll come out of that. One of the greatest liars of all time. I kind of give him credit for.
Would you have Hogan on this show if we were offered Hulk Hogan? Would you want him to be on this show?
Yeah.
Yeah. Why not? Type of thing.
It'd be a why not type of thing, and like, I mean, I don't condone any of this this racist stuff that he has done. I think he's kind of a garbage human being in many ways. All of that said, I am not defending any of that. Did I grow up a Hulkamaniac like a lot of kids did? Yes. Do I have, photos of myself in the Hogan shirt and everything? Yes. I would like to ask him certain questions that I'm sure he will not answer, and I'm sure he would lie about. I'd have him on this show, and I hope that our audience realizes we would not just have him on and be like, hey, tell us about the Bash at the Beach 2000 when everybody's heard these stories. Tell us about Slam and Andre, brother. I'd ask him, are you racist?
And the interview is over.
Yeah, that'd be the end of the interview right there.
I love Brian Sullivan coming in and just be like, this is not the in the weeds talk I expected. This is literally us talking about wrestlers getting in the weeds on the weeds. So here we go. By the way, if you're here and you're just catching us live, go ahead and drop a thumbs up. Even if you're watching after the fact, that always helps us. A thumbs up here and a subscribe goes a long way. If you want to donate a super chat, support us financially here at Fightful Overbooked, that also helps. It pays our contributors. It pays our people who do shows on this channel who are not named Jeremy, Joel, or Kate. So go ahead and drop a super chat there. Like Troy Pollock, who drops us a very nice super chat, says, "Won't cap." Sorry, I just stumble over my words, won't catch much live due to chemo, and the Wi-Fi in that part of the hospital is Kate level, and we all know what that means. But thank you guys for the content. It helps more than you can imagine. Troy, I'm pulling for you. I hope everything's great. I hope, honestly, I hope the Wi-Fi gets better. That's one thing you should pull the hospital to do, is get better Wi-Fi. But seriously, we're lucky. We're lucky you're here. We're lucky you're doing okay, and keep it up. Keep doing good. Okay. That's all.
Thank you, Troy, and best of luck with chemo and just everything recovery wise that you're going through. We're pulling for you, man. And thanks for tuning in. You could be doing much better things with your life right now. So thanks for listening to us, and thanks for supporting us in that way. But we're wishing you the best, man. Good luck with everything.
Absolutely. We have so much to talk about today. There's a ton of AEW stuff on the table because it's Dynamite tonight. There's a big talk about AEW Collision, where the first announced location is going to be. We have a ton of press conferences that we can talk about that are coming up, and what we expect, or just really clowning on the idea that there's 3 press conferences on Thursday, 1 on Friday, which is absolutely wild.
What else is on Thursday? Is Impact holding a press conference on
doing
Thursday?
a live press
What time?
conference at, oh my god, I have the thing. I was sent it by my pal George Iceman. He sent it to me. I think it's at 3 p.m.
So we've got
3 p.m.
Sean,
Eastern. Yeah.
So Sean's at 10. Shawn Michaels at 10 for NXT. Tony Khan's at 2, and then Impact is at 3. That's poor planning by Impact, because Tony's gonna go long. Like, you gotta put that thing at noon, because Sean ain't going that long. Sean, I don't think, actually likes doing these things, and he's like, yeah, I try to keep it like 30, 45 minutes max, and like, he's done. Tony will say, yeah, let's keep it an hour, and then go for like an hour and a half. Yep. You can't do 3 o'clock. You got to go noon on that thing.
You got to not do it. And the WWE has their press conference on Friday in Jeddah.
Should we do a media call on a Thursday night? I know you allegedly have to like watch Impact and do a post show, and there's allegedly an ROH show also. Should we just do, what time's ROH start? 5 p.m. Eastern on Thursday night, the Fightful overbooked media call.
Can we not do it Thursday? Because that is my worst. That's the worst time and date you could imagine.
You don't have to be part of this, Joel. I'll do it. And I have no idea what it's going to be. No, actually, you do need to be part of it. What do I pay you for if you're not going to be part of these media calls?
Can we do it any other time?
What do you do? Well, okay, what time do you prefer?
I don't even know anymore.
It's got to be Thursday. That's the bit. The problem is Thursday.
Thursday at 4, I have to produce Know Your News for Jimmy, and that runs about an hour, let's say, total. So that goes till 5. My kid comes home from daycare, and I have to make dinner. So there's that. And then after that is, put him down for sleep, and then I have to watch Impact. And I have to talk about that.
You can order dinner.
No,
you don't need to make dinner. You can order dinner.
No, who's gonna feed the kid?
Somebody donate $10 so Joel can order dinner on Thursday. If you
think $10 to order in, you are sadly mistaken.
How many people are you eating for?
Well, at least 3. Plus, we like leftovers.
Don't be selfish and eat leftovers. Just take the meal that you're given and be grateful. There's starving kids in Africa, like Starvin' Marvin, who can't get any meal and is traded for a Tyco sports watch. All right, so be grateful.
Are you gonna get? Are you gonna get some Casa Bonita for me? Order some Casa Bonita.
Yeah, it does.
Anyway,
we're gonna do a media call. I don't know if Joel's gonna be there because
not at this rate, unless you do it early. Why don't you do it early on Thursday morning?
I do a different show on Thursday morning.
It seems like a problem y'all have, not mine.
I'm already bumping that show up. By the way, Spotlight is at 8:30 this week on Thursday, so I can, cover the Shawn Michaels media call at 10 a.m. Like, these are the sacrifices that I make for this job. We're gonna do it late. Let everybody else do their, let Shawn do his, let Impact, whoever runs that thing, do theirs. Let Tony do his, and then we're gonna do ours.
Who's running at noon?
I assume nobody. Should we do ours at noon? Can you do it at noon?
Probably.
I don't want to do it before Tony Khan. I want to do it after Tony
I get
Khan's
it.
press
Why don't
conference.
you get in before his bit, okay? Just take everything he will say and just spit it back like an AI bot before he says it.
I was the Tony Khan AI bot before Tony Khan was an AI bot.
It's true. It's true. You are the OG AI Tony Khan. AITK is Jeremy Lambert.
The show's been 15 minutes long and we haven't talked about anything so far.
That's fine. We talked about the press conferences. We talked about Hogan, Flair, and Tyson on weed.
No one covers WWE Hall of Famers smoking drugs like this show.
Listen, the viewership is still climbing, so clearly we're doing something right. 11:25 Eastern, by the way. Andreas Hale joins us. He hosts Fighting Words on Sporting News. He's co-host of the Corner podcast. Of course, you probably heard that, and Fight Nation on Sirius XM. So Andreas Hale's going to join us soon at 11:25. So about a little over an hour if you're watching us live here on Overbooked. Very excited to have him on. He's going to talk about AEW coming to Vegas because he is stationed in Vegas. That is his turf. And we'll run down Double or Nothing. And of course, everything that's going on in AEW in Vegas because they're taping Dynamite and Rampage tonight there. And there's going to be some newsworthy stuff coming out of there. So may as well start the speculation train now, Jeremy. Collision, where's it going to be? Are we doing it at the United Center in Chicago? Are we going to Daly's Place? Exclusive news. Sorry, getting a little in there. What's going on with Collision? Where are we going, Jeremy Lambert? Where do we want to go for Collision?
I can confirm. Someone's can actually report this.
Game over, man. Someone's gonna do it.
That's AEW Collision. If it is not the United Center, it will be in Akron, Ohio, the home of LeBron James, who just lost and got swept in the Western Conference Finals. They feel so bad about LeBron getting swept that LeBron is going to bring the debut episode of AEW Collision to Akron, Ohio. All right? Put it out there.
Bringing my talents to Akron. I'm not bringing my talents. I'm bringing the talents of AEW to Akron, and I won't be there. I don't know. What are we doing? I mean, listen, there was the talk of Daly's Place that seems to have been rejected by a few different sources. Someone was trying to tell me that Sean had also said Daly's Place, and I just sit there and be like, no, he never said that. Someone asked him where else they could do it, and he's like, I don't know, they could maybe go to Daly's Place because it's always available. That's not reporting, that is speculating. But I don't see why it wouldn't be at the United Center. I don't see why they wouldn't do it unless the CM Punk stuff is really as bad as some people have said, and that there are some issues at hand that are keeping him from showing up to work.
I think it's going to be the United Center. Why they didn't announce it last week, I don't know. Maybe there seems to be a little bit of a holdup with things, and hopefully they got these things worked out and they're able to do it and go to the United Center. Obviously, if they announce the United Center, that would be a good sign with the Punk and AEW relationship, because I don't think they're doing the United Center without Punk. I will say that. I don't think they're doing the United Center without Punk. And so if they do announce, let's say, Daly's Place, then that's probably a bad sign for the Punk and AEW relationship. It feels like those are the two options. Maybe they go to, I still want to call it the Sears Center. I know it like got changed to a different name, but that's a little bit of a smaller, Now Arena. Yeah. I know that's a smaller arena, kind of same vicinity as United Center. It probably still sell like pretty well there. So maybe they go, but they're at the Now Arena like that same week, aren't they? For Dynamite, I feel like they're at the Now Arena like just after that.
Just after which date?
I'm looking it up right now.
Yeah, I'm just looking. The honestly, the only other place you could do it is you've got Wintrust on the 21st, which is for Dynamite and Rampage. So you'd be running United Center on the 17th, and then Wintrust 3 days later.
Wintrust, that's what I was thinking of. Yeah,
Wintrust is like the middle of the road arena. Sears is outside in Schaumburg, right?
Okay. Yeah, I was thinking Wintrust, not the Now Arena. I know it was someplace in the Chicago area. So maybe you can do the Now Arena for Collision, if that's available. But it feels like it's going to be the United Center, and if it's not there, then yeah, I guess Dailies makes the most sense just because it is available and you're probably going to sell well there. That's a bad sign for the Punk AEW relationship if you're going to dailies. I think it's United Center though. I think things are okay. You know, it's still going to be this next month might be a little touch and go with stuff. CM Punk, you just never know quite what you're going to get with him right now. But I think they're going to announce the United Center tonight.
It makes perfect sense to do the United Center. It's I think something that's very interesting is Brandon Thurston from WrestleNomics had mentioned that the ticket sales, the pre-sales are quite down for Collision, which was a show that was heavily hyped as the CM Punk show. And then when announced, well, the person whose name you affixed to it is suddenly not there. So some fans are saying, well, why would I go? What's the attraction? Who's the draw? And the guy that they've been trying to put as the draw isn't on the card. So if they do announce it's United Center, I would see an uptick in sales easily. But if they don't, then they've got maybe a bit of a problem on their hand. They're going to have to sell a lot of tickets with a lot of really good announced cards or just big announced talent showing up at Collision. Because if you're putting it on the back of one guy and that one guy is suddenly not showing up, you've got a big problem on your hands.
He's showing up, right? Like,
I don't see why not. I do not see why not.
I mean, I see why not. There's
reasons
for him to not show up. I decided to do a little investigative journalism and just go to the United Center website and see if they have anything listed right now. And they don't have anything for June 17th posted on their website. Yeah, I thought maybe they would spoil their own announcement. I also did the investigative journalism of just asking CM Punk on Twitter if he was going to show up, and he did not respond to me, but maybe we'll get there. 50 Cent is coming to the United Center on September 16th. That's a day after my birthday. Somebody buy me tickets to the 50 Cent tour. I want to go see 50 Cent.
There you go. Go to Chicago. Go see 50 Cent. You know what you need to do, by the way? You need to take that tweet of yours. You need to send it to Pro Wrestling Podcast so they post it on Instagram, and then they tag CM Punk. And once again, the Pro Wrestling Podcast beacon goes out, and CM Punk replies to the Instagram post. He doesn't do anything on Twitter anymore. He is an Instagram only guy. He joined Meta, and he was like, "I like Meta. I'm a Zuckerberg guy. I'm not an Elon guy." So I don't know what happened there.
I am gonna tag Pro Wrestling Podcast in this great tweet.
I love you for that
I had, and I was like, "Hey, post this on your Instagram page, and maybe CM Punk will respond." All right, hey, Pro Wrestling Podcast, great people, by the way. Post this on your Instagram, so Punk responds to it. Thanks! Exclamation point. There we go. All right, there. Let's see. Let's see if Pro Wrestling Podcast takes my call here and post just my tweet that is not actually news. Like they usually do. Like they post news on their Instagram page, but maybe they'll just post my random tweet and maybe CM Punk will respond to it. They're gonna announce United Center tonight. Everything's gonna be great. It's going to be the biggest week in AEW history. Here is the question I really have. And I want to ask Andreas Hale this about an hour from now. Does Punk show up this weekend?
I've been thinking about that. I wouldn't do it unless he's merging right into main event traffic and he's going after MJF. If the Pillars 4-Way opens the show, for some reason, I don't think so either, but I'm just spitballing it. Let's say if it does, then you bring out Punk right after that or midway through the show when MJF does something, whatever it is. It's one of those. If you do it, it's because the MJF Punk stuff is on. But otherwise, I would save it. I would save it till United Center. I would save it till June. It's only a few weeks away. June 1st is next Thursday. Like, we are very close to a new month. So I don't see why you wouldn't try to get all the hype you possibly could for a huge Collision debut rating and just leave Punk off the broadcast altogether. Let the focus be on the pay-per-view. That's where my brain is.
I'm with you. I think if they announce United Center, then it's pretty like that's your clue that CM Punk is showing up. And so much like they did with First Dance and Rampage, they announced United Center. They never said it was Punk, but it was, it was a given that Punk was showing up on this. And then he showed up and it was great. It popped the rating and everything. And it was a big return. I think you kind of play it the same way. Now, I will say there is a little bit of credence to having MJF win in the main event of Double or Nothing. And then I don't know if you play a voicemail like you did with MJF's return. That was so weird. Play the voicemail. Let's hear the Tony Khan voicemail to CM Punk. Phil, it's been a long couple of months. I hope everything's is cooled down. We'll bring back Ace. Whatever you need to do. You're no longer injured. You're healthy. I know you miss pro wrestling. I know you miss the pro wrestling fans. I know you miss the great fans of AEW. We want you back. We don't want you sitting out. You're making a lot of money to just sit out. You never lost the AEW world title. What would you like, Phil? Do you want Ace Steel back? We'll bring back Ace Steel. That's fine. You might have to apologize. We'll settle that at a later date. You might have to apologize. But we just want you back. The fans of pro wrestling, the fans of AEW, myself, I want you back. What's it going to take to get you back? Come back, show up, Double or Nothing, show up in Las Vegas, and let's do the second coming. And that's the voicemail that plays over the loudspeaker after MJF wins. And then the lights go down, and then the Rocky theme hits. And here comes CM Punk wearing, I guess he doesn't need to wear a mask. Maybe he does. Maybe he does wear the mask.
But it's a Stallone mask. He's wearing a Sylvester Stallone mask.
He wears the mask. No, here's what it is. He wears the mask, and people remember when there was that big controversy of, ROH, the gear, and no one gets the ROH gear. I don't get it. The mask that he comes back in. Remember when he wrestled in a mask for like 2 matches in WWE and Big Show like ripped it off? It was like the straight edge savior mask type of thing. That's what it is. That's the mask he wears. And then he takes it off. It's like, this is a reference to his straight edge savior mask in WWE. And you got dorks online arguing about what it means. It's like, I don't get it. Oh, I do get it type of thing. And then that's how I get accused of not understanding the CM Punk lore, and I become the owner of Fightful. That's how that whole bit started as well, because I'd never seen a CM Punk match before his dog collar match against MJF. So he wears the straight edge savior mask, and he comes out and he takes it off, and there he is. And he goes like that. And then that's how Double or Nothing ends, is CM Punk standing there going like that. And then MJF goes into the press conference and he's eating a pickle. And oh wait, they already did that bit. Never mind.
Yeah, that one's gone. Sorry, can't do it again.
Sorry.
Yeah, they're in Vegas, so he walks in holding like, I don't know, what's the most like Vegas thing you can eat? Drugs.
Yeah, I was gonna say
he's got one
shrooms?
Of those oversized. This is a bad thing to do on the air. He's got one of those oversized.
What was this, Joel? What were you? He's got an oversized just this. This is happening.
Oversized novelty Bellini. You know how they come in those big, long cylindrical things? Anyway. Buffets, someone says. He shows up with a buffet cart. He's just eating and talking shit about Punk. Oh, by the way, so you mentioned the phone call idea. I think Sean on the AEW post show, on Dynamite post show, he made reference to a call that Punk and Tony had as like a positive thing. And now I'm just thinking about that as like Jeremy said it and it happens. I'm gonna be like, oh god, the clues were all there. I hope to God it doesn't
I don't
happen.
know. By the way, I don't know anything. Please do not act like I don't want to be a journalist in that regard. I don't want to be a scoopster. I do fake scoops and get in trouble for those. I don't want to be a real scoopster on any of this stuff. I'm just throwing out my dumb ideas, and then sometimes they come true. So look, if they play this voicemail, if they play some voicemail one, I don't think it's a great idea. If they do this was not because I knew anything. It was because I thought it was wacky and it popped me. And then for some reason, Tony Khan decided to do it as well. Oh, please don't put those labels on me of a scoopster. Nobody tells me anything.
It's true. Ryan in the chat saying, now we know what Joel does in Vegas. Well, there was one time where there were a couple of women who came up to a friend of mine and I and tried. They did try, and they had one of those oversized novelty bellinis. My friend was very excited to spend time with these ladies. He didn't know better. I did. And I was like, we're not doing this, bud. They didn't. They certainly looked like just two tourists on vacation. But there was a whole thing, Jeremy. It was a whole thing.
Let's tell this story. This is much better than professional wrestling.
This was 2007.
Okay.
Yeah, we went to Vegas for 5 days. We stayed at Treasure Island, and he thought they liked. That's exactly what it was, by the way. He really did. So yeah, we went, and oh god, my family's watching. I wonder if they know the story. I think they do. I think I've told the story. But anyway, we're walking along the strip one afternoon. We're going just casino hopping, just walking around enjoying the sights, and just two dudes walking around. And then these two women come and talk to us, and they're just being chatty. And one is like the party girl, and the other one is like the shy, quiet type. These are the personalities they're trying to put on. And then this shy, quiet one goes up to my friend who is kind of nerdy, shy, quiet looking. And then the party girl comes up to me and starts talking to me like, where are all the parties? I don't know. And I'm just playing like shy, dumb, I don't care. And then they switch. The party girl goes to my friend who wants to party. And the nerdy girl comes to me suddenly because she thinks I'm the shy, nerdy type. So they're like, oh, we're going to go swimming over at our hotel. You want to come? And I'm like, I do not. I'm sorry. My friend's like, yeah, I do. And I'm like, and I turn to him, I'm like, no, we don't. And he's like, yeah, it's fine. We got to get our swimsuits on. I'm just like, no, we're not doing this. So yeah, it's fine. And they're like, yeah, we'll come back to your hotel and then we'll go to our hotel. We're staying at the Aria. And I'm like, we're not doing this. So we go back to our hotel. They come up to our room because my friend is an idiot. And by the way, the Bellini part is that they're trying to get him to have some of their Bellini. I'm like, this thing is spiked. Ain't no way. It wasn't spiked. Thank God for that. But or at least one sip didn't do anything. But anyway, that's where the giant Bellini kind of ties in this whole story. So we go back to our hotel room because he was going to get changed and go. And I'm like, we're not doing this. We're really not doing this. And they're getting frisky with him. Like they're trying to like undo his belt with their teeth and stuff. And I'm just like, this is awful. And I'm sitting there on the bed. I'm on my phone. I'm like, this sucks. I know what this is. I do not like it. We have tickets to Cirque du Soleil. We're not doing this. And then what happens next? He gets changed, and I'm trying to talk him out of it, but like not directly to that. I don't want to tip them off that I know what's going on. So as they go outside of the room, I pull him aside. And I'm just like, give me 2 minutes. I said something like, oh, hold on. You know what? I'll come with. I will put on my band. And I closed the door and I said, we're not going. And he said, why not? I'm like, because they're going to jump you the second they get to their hotel. And it's not going to be you that jump. There's not going to be them jumping you. It's going to be someone else jumping you and getting your money too. He's like, you really think so? I'm just like, yes, I absolutely do. And so next thing you know, he's like, I'm going to catch up with them. I know it's not that. And he opens the door and thank God they're gone. They had already left. And he's like, I'm gonna go scale the casino floor looking for them. I'm like, you're not gonna find them, and if you do, they're talking to somebody else. Long story. Yeah, we really did have tickets to Soleil. I got a bottle of something and I drank it in the tub that night. That evening actually had a few drinks. They had left, everything was fine. So yeah, I got drunk in the tub, and then we went to go see Silk, but I did not make it through Silk. I made it through the first 5 minutes and then left because I was like, I'm too drunk for this. We had third row seats to Cirque du Soleil. Gave it up because I got too drunk.
What I heard in this story is you were a coward and you did not want to go have a good time with this party girl and this shy girl. That's the story that I heard. Your friend was willing to take a risk and have some adventure in Vegas, and you denied him of this.
It was a setup, Jeremy. It was a setup.
You don't know this.
I am 99% sure that this was a setup.
These women seem to have good intentions in Las Vegas. They were taking off his belt with their teeth. You do not do that to a man unless you have good intentions for him.
Stop it. There are going to be so many comments on this video being like, they did not talk about wrestling for a solid 28 minutes.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's fine. So, yeah.
This is factual, by the way. If Joel wants to tell me great Vegas stories, I'm way more interested in that than whatever his wrestling opinion is. Are you kidding me? I can go on Twitter and get his wrestling opinion all day. I definitely want his Vegas stories. That's what I'm here for. My parents went to Vegas when I was like 12. I've never been to Vegas, by the way. My parents went when I was like 12 or 13, right? And they went and they had a grand old time, I guess. I don't know. They came back and my dad just gives me a bunch of call girl cards. I guess you just walk around in Vegas and people are just handing them out like, here, you want a nice time tonight? Call this person.
They really are. It's that in strip club matchbooks. They're just, everyone's just handing, and the flyers. It's a family city with like the seediest underbelly you'll ever see right up front.
So my dad just hands me these cards. And I'm like, all right, I don't know what I'm supposed to do with these. I'm not calling these numbers. I don't live in Vegas, but I saw one of the cards and there was a famous British model on there. For people who do not know, her name is Keely Hazel. If anybody has heard. Who were you thinking?
I was thinking Lucy Pinder.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's a top name out there. Her name was Keely Hazel, though. You can Google her if you would like. You can Google her on certain sites if you would like. But I noticed her on this little card here, and I knew about Keely Hazel because I had Googled her and I was like, why is she on these cards? And then I learned that they will use these famous people who may or may not be known in these certain areas and to try to, hey, these are the type of people that you can call and maybe you'll get this person. I promise you were probably not getting Keely Hazel if you called that number and tried to set up a date with those women. But I guess, that this is now very commonplace of well-known of, yeah, they will use these models from other countries in photos to get you like, all of our women look like this. And I'm sure these are lovely young ladies just looking for a great line of work and just looking to pay off their education in this. I'm sure they are also not Keely Hazel. So that is my only Vegas story because I've never been to Vegas.
I would like to go back to Vegas. Chi-Town Spurs with the super chat saying you have 2 kidneys for a reason, Joel. That's
You're a coward. That's why.
J.K. Schwall in the chat being like, I think you told this on the OG gaming streams. I think I did once upon a time during the pandemic. Tell us, because we had a whole bunch of weird stories, but yeah, but I didn't go into that much detail. Now I did. By the way, if you do Collision, I have to pivot back to wrestling talk for a minute. If you do Collision, not in Chicago, but you're in Washington for Dynamite and Rampage tapings 3 days prior, you can go in between there, which happens to be Cincinnati. Basically, you're in like your neck of the woods.
I'm to Pittsburgh. I feel like Pittsburgh shows generally do well. They were just here at Pittsburgh in like a month ago, so I don't know if they want to go to Pittsburgh. The wife just texted me and she said, "I'm afraid if you go to Vegas, I have a great idea, Joel Pearl. A great idea that is 100% going to get approved when she hears this in 2 minutes on the delay. I'm going to go to Vegas with our good friend Cassidy Haynes." All right.
Nope. Stop it. Don't even finish the sentence. Nope. He will have to use a pseudonym while he's there. And I'm not going to say the name that just came to my head when I was thinking the pseudonym he would have to use, because I am not that big of a How I Met Your Mother fan. So no, you're not bringing Cassidy Haynes to Vegas. No.
First thing she texted was just nope, all caps. We don't have the bail money.
Oh my good Lord.
I feel this is a great idea. What could go wrong with me and Cassidy Haynes in Vegas? Let me send Cass this link.
Stop it. Although I would love
and just see. And just see.
He's probably in his car.
He's probably driving. So he's probably driving to Vegas right now to go to Double or Nothing.
Actually, he may very well be doing that. He's like, "What's up? I'm on my way to Vegas." He'll be like, "Good timing. Pick up Jeremy on the way."
There, I just sent. Mike says, "Have you heard any of Cassidy's travel stories?" I've been part of some of Cassidy's travel stories. Okay. Yeah, I've heard them. I've lived some of them.
Yeah, it's more like you survived some of them.
Yeah.
You see him go to Waffle House with him. Oh my God. Okay, while you're doing that, should we stick with AEW or should we at least tee up a little bit of Night of Champions? Because Raw.
You're the host, Joel. You're the host. Whatever you want to talk about.
So, what do you want to talk about? It happened, Jeremy. You saw the clip. Brock Lesnar did the thing that I said he would do. Comes out after he beat Cody's ass. Comes out middle of the show after telling Ali, get a life, kid, get a new job.
That ruled. I felt here's another story for people. This actually has to do with wrestling. So we're watching Raw, and one of the kids is up, and they're telling us about they saw the Guardians movie. I'm not gonna spoil any of the Guardians movie. Apparently, it's like sad. There's like sad parts of the Guardians movie, right? And so he's telling us about the Guardians movie that he saw and everything, telling us about all the sad part. And Ali's doing his promo, and I'm like half paying attention to what he's saying because he's mainly talking to the wife about this, and I'm half paying attention to Raw, and Brock just comes on and just bumps the camera and just like, "Get a life, kid," and I'm dying. I'm like, oh my God, I'm cracking up so much. And the kid is like, "Jeremy, that's not very nice," because he thinks I'm cracking up at him talking about the sad stories of the Guardians movie. And I'm like, no, it's Brock being a jerk to Mustafa Ali. And he thinks I am, making fun of the sad stuff in the Guardians movie. And I was not. I let the record show whatever happens in Guardians, I'm sure that's very sad. Brock bumping the camera and telling Mustafa Ali to get a life. Hilarious. Absolutely hilarious.
Brock comes out and he does this. "So what do you want to talk about?" And I immediately am like, "Oh, I got to clip the thing." I toss it up there. Cody comes out. So the through line for Raw, which I appreciated, by the way, having a through line of story on your wrestling show, always helpful. The through line for Raw was Cody getting that ass kicked and then refusing to seek medical attention for having gotten that ass kicked. And it ends with Triple H confronting Cody and being like, "It's your funeral." Not exactly, but him being like, "You should get medical help." And Cody's like, "I'm fine." And of course, everyone made the joke that Triple H walked up to Cody and said, "So we can talk about that throne or what?" But instead, Triple H, being the, I guess, older brother figure, because he couldn't be the father figure given the age difference. It's like 20 something years. Not even 20. Anyway, that's kind of how it ended. Was Cody's gonna go and do the Saudi show, but he's going to be clearly injured. Some people have come off and said, this is the only way that they can tell the Cody story is he's either Dusty's kid or he's injured all the time and overcoming adversity. Yeah. So where do you stand on this now, knowing that we're still doing Cody and Lesnar on Saturday at Afternoon of Champions, and that this is possibly Lesnar just picking the bones at this rate?
I mean, we thought Lesnar was going to win anyway, because why would you do the rematch? It seems like you're going to set up a third one. So it does seem like Lesnar is going to win. Maybe he doesn't, though. Maybe they do go Cody's injured and he still beats Lesnar. Like, maybe that's the way they decide they're going to tell this story. Do I think it's great? No, just I don't like this Cody adversity stuff anyway. I think Brock should win, set up the third match. However, you're going to do that. I guess Money in the Bank is Money in the Bank the next pay-per-view? Is there one in June?
No, that is Money in the Bank is early July 1st.
Okay. So Money in the Bank. I don't know if Brock's going to be in that. I don't know if Cody's going to be like in the Money in the Bank qualifiers start on Monday. So maybe Cody wins and then Brock comes out and costs Cody his Money in the Bank qualifier match. And then you just run this back one more time at Money in the Bank. Like I'm not a fan of Cody just like being injured and, hey, I'm still going to go out there and I'm going to fight this man and everything. And then I'm definitely not a fan of, I'm going to go out there and fight this man and I'm going to win. Like, if you could beat Brock Lesnar half injured and everything, like that's not adversity to me. You've won. You've overcome this man. Like, losing to him and then finding a way to win later, that's the real adversity there. Like, just like beating, when he beat Seth Rollins with the torn pec, that just kind of makes you superhuman. And cool if that's where you're going to go, but they're trying to make it seem like he's overcoming adversity, but it's just all hollow adversity because he just keeps winning. And that's why when you do these like injury stuff, it just feels very hollow of like, oh, look what he's overcoming type of thing. That's why I do think like the torn pec thing was actually when he had to miss the time. That was real adversity. That didn't feel very hollow. But then coming back at number 30 was like, okay. So it feels hollow if he got injured. He comes in, he beats Brock. Look what he overcame. It's like, man, you write the television show. Like, you didn't really overcome much of anything here. Overcoming would be, hey, you got your ass kicked after all of this and you lost. Now, how do you deal with that?
There's a very weird story trying to repeat itself that shouldn't. And like you said, it's the torn pec was real. That was an image. That was a vision, really. Yeah. When he took off that coat and he revealed all the purple and the internal bleeding, and that was a moment. This is not. This was, like you said, the first victory. Beating Brock Lesnar could have been enough. Unfortunately, because Cody is the type of guy who he is Marty McFly or George. He's actually George McFly. Don't call me a chicken, because that's what happened. Was Brock came out the next night, beat up Cody Rhodes, and essentially called him a chicken. And now Cody is saying, "Don't call me a chicken. I'll beat your ass at Afternoon of Champions." So for me, it is a little forced. It is. But if the story is that the babyface, as stupid as he is willing to fight when called a chicken, then he's going to go and get his ass kicked, and then they'll force a third match. It's not ideal. It's not the best. The match will be fun because it was the first time. They have to find a way to make it fun this time. And you know what? I wouldn't even sorry, someone in the chat just popped me with the Jewish reference. And if they went to Saudi and they did like that, the John Cena uncomfortable SummerSlam 2015 beatdown, where Brock just completely demolished John Cena. And at one point you're just like, he's got to end this thing. This is getting uncomfortable. If we can get to that at Afternoon of Champions, that would make the match okay in my books. That we will do a rematch. We will do a third match, probably at Money in the Bank. The fact that they're doing qualifiers makes me feel like the big names like Cody, like Brock, need not be a part of Money in the Bank this year. You can do a Cody and Brock blow off match, whether that's Hell in a Cell, whether that's just a steel cage, or whatever the story is. You can play it off in that UK crowd. Brock's got to be on the card because they're going to be international, and Brock loves working the international shows. That's just that Brock is always doing the international shows that are not, not fun. He'll be there. So I would do Cody and Brock 3 in the UK and just get it over with there. Get that done and then move on to SummerSlam. Leave Cody out of Money in the Bank. Everyone who's saying Cody should win Money in the Bank, call a shot. No, don't need to do that. Let Cody get his way back in to the world title, Universal, Undisputed, whatever the hell, Roman's title picture. Let him do that later, but we don't need Money in the Bank to get him there. So I see a third match. I see what happened on Raw as awkward as it was. I see where they're going with it. I just hope that they don't try to tell the same story that they did at Hell in a Cell 2022 with Seth Rollins and the torn pec. I hope they more just have him show up, get the shit kicked out of him, beat again, and then crisis of conscience. Cody's like, I did it once. This time I tried it again and I screwed up. I lost. I got beat down real bad, but it's not going to happen again. Yada, yada, yada. Maybe they beat him up so bad there's a stretcher job, takes time off. I don't know. But either way, he's just that's it. That's how they move on to Money in the Bank and do a third match.
Do we think because of this Cody and Triple H interaction, there's been the theory out there that Triple H has hired Brock Lesnar to take out Cody Rhodes? There's also the theory that Paul Heyman, who was a little giddy during his speech of Brock Lesnar at the beginning of Raw with his visitor pass, did he hire Brock Lesnar to take out Cody Rhodes? Because they're still trying to act like Brock doesn't have a reason for these attacks other than he's Brock Lesnar and like whatever, he's just going to do what he wants anyway. So do we think that maybe Triple H got in his ear, maybe Paul Heyman got in his ear, and that's the bigger story here?
So after WrestleMania, when this happened, when Brock beat up Cody, I said, oh my God, they're going to do a payoff angle, like a literal, we're paying you off to take out Cody. I think we may have talked about it on this show or a show that we were doing where I said that if you want to get back, if the old man is back in charge, how do you get rid of the Roman, Brock can't challenge for Roman's title. How do you get away from that stipulation? Well, you pay him off so that you can take the title, take the stipulation off the table. And that's how you get around it. Once again, this is one of those, they write the shows, same situation. You can do that. But I don't think that's what they're going to do here. Because now you got Brock firmly in the camp of a heel. You've got Roman, who is firmly in the camp of a heel on his show. Although I guess Brock is a free agent. But regardless, it's not worth doing. It's not worth pursuing anymore because both men are very firmly in the camp of being a heel and doing a heel-heel match at even SummerSlam. I don't think people are going to be too invested in that. So, yeah, it's just kind of done. Brock can be like, I'm a piece of shit, and I did what I held up my end of the bargain, taking out Cody for you. Now I get mine, but then you're turning Roman, and that's not a good idea.
Here's what you do.
No, stop.
Here's all of my ideas are great. Why are you already poo-pooing this idea before? See, I got a pen. Put this in pen, not pencil. Everybody wants the pencil. I want the pen. All right. Here's what
Sharpie. It's more efficient.
True. Here's what you do, Joel. Brock was hired by Heyman to take out Cody. Okay. Brock wins. Brock wins on Saturday. He wins that match this Saturday against Cody. They do the third match at Money in the Bank. Brock wins that match as well. But Cody still gets the briefcase. Okay, Cody still wins the briefcase. It comes out that Brock was still hired by Heyman. Brock's like, I did my job. All right. I took him out. Can't help it that he got in there and won the briefcase. That's not my fault. I didn't. Triple H did that. then we can set up a Roman versus Triple H match down the line because everybody wants to see that again. I can't help that part of it. Brock's like, I want my what I'm owed now. I want what I'm owed. Okay. Heyman's like, all right, here's what you're owed. You're owed this title shot against Roman Reigns. Brock and Roman one more time. SummerSlam. Set it up again, baby. 1 year later, they did Last Man Standing last year with the tractor. Everybody loved that, right? Set it up again 1 year later, Brock and Roman. Here's the twist. Big twist. Cody cashes in Money in the Bank. Okay. Gets himself into the match. I don't care if he does it beforehand. I don't care if he does it during. Don't care. Okay. Gets in the match. Makes it a triple threat match. Oh, listen, guys. Listen, all you people in the chat. Wait till you hear this payoff. Okay. Wait till you hear the payoff. Cash it in. Right. Cody comes in. He gets in there. Gets pinned. Double pin. Brock and Roman both pin Cody. And then afterwards, Roman just hands Brock the title. He hands one of them. I don't care which one. Hand him back the WWE title. That was the title he lost to him, right? Now we got 3 legitimate world championships, and we've split the titles. And now we got 2 champions who don't show up. Maybe one who does show up. I don't know if Seth is doing movies or whatever. AJ's got, he likes to go to his football games with his kids on Friday nights. I guess it's summertime, so he'll be fine. He's got a little while before that. And we get 3 world champions now. I think this is great. And Cody overcomes more adversity, everybody, because he's lost 2 matches to Brock. He has lost another world title match where he got double pinned by Brock and Roman, and all is right in the WWE universe because Roman has a title and Brock has a title. And that is how the WWE universe should be run if one man is running it.
Okay, but what if Brock hits him with the rubber chicken?
That'd be fine. I'm down with that. I don't know why everybody's so down on I'm being attacked for presenting new ideas.
Jeremy on those Vegas drugs again.
Oh, no.
Oh, speaking of Vegas drugs. Hello, Eggman.
How's it going? I am the new head coach of the Toronto Maple Leafs, apparently.
It's a general manager they're looking for, right?
Nope.
Okay, just making sure. What do we got?
What kind of eggs do you have this morning?
Oh, it's the same ones as last time.
It's from Wild Egg again.
All right.
I'm talking like $20 for one of these omelets, which is wild because I read that I live in like a $12,000 house yesterday. But
it's a nice house for $12,000.
These eggs cost more than your car. Let me just go on like that on Twitter.
So much yelling.
Well, one guy tweets like he's got a headache all the time.
That's true. Oh, God.
What are we talking about? What's going on here?
I just presented the greatest idea of all time where...
I'm sure it was.
We're doing Brock and Roman at SummerSlam for the last time ever. Cody, don't comment until you hear the full idea. Cody cashes in Money in the Bank to get into the match. Roman and Brock both pin Cody, and then Roman just hands Brock the WWE title. So now we have 3 world titles floating around, 2 champions who are present, and Roman and Brock are champions, which is how the WWE universe should run. Like this is my WWE. I want my WWE universe back.
This is certainly the kind that you started to cover at first. This is definitely, 2019, like a lot of people say, oh, what's the worst thing you've covered in wrestling? I would say about 2014 is when I started to cover wrestling full time. So there was that very dark, like late 2015 period where everybody was hurt and Sheamus wasn't good, but he was winning Money in the Bank at that point. Like that was rough. He's way better now. But late 2019, that was real bad because MMA wasn't good either. and I couldn't like just turn to it. I've got some interesting questions here. How did Sean end up with the Leafs and not the Blue Jackets or Predators? I lived about 4+ hours from Nashville, about 3 from Columbus, but I have been to Toronto more times than I've been to Columbus or Nashville combined. Toronto is a second home to me. And do I have a Vegas story?
No.
Yeah, we were sharing Vegas stories earlier. I had another great idea of going to Vegas with the great Cassidy Haynes and just
Oh no.
vibing in Vegas with Cassidy Haynes. My wife immediately shot this down.
I've told this story before, and it involves Disco Inferno.
Oh, yes.
Oh, yes, I've heard this one, yeah.
But I'm not going to tell that one. Should I tell the Jimmy Havoc story, Jeremy?
Oh, man.
We can tell that one, yeah.
I think you
should I omit the other name? Because I'm not sure if he wants to be named.
I feel like you actually named the person before.
Okay.
Without
I'll just do it.
Story,
and I hope he's not mad because he sent me a text yesterday and I love the guy. In 2019, I was going to save this for an upcoming select series called Sean Ross Stories. But here we go. We'll cover the full Vegas
get money out of people. Hey, let's see. Remember when we did the SmackDown reviews and we'd we'd tell like fight stories if we got enough money.
Yeah.
So now everyone knows sort of the setup for this. So send in super chats so we can get the story.
So that was the funniest thing with the StarCast thing last year, where people were like, "That Sean's never been in a fight in his life," and I was like, "We made a whole lot of money just telling those stories after SmackDown for a while." But we're gonna do like a Fightful Select series eventually, where we tell stories about covering individual events. Like Joel will do it about Montreal and obviously the Montreal everybody talks about, Elimination Chamber, not Survivor Series. But,
right. Yeah.
But we were at Double or Nothing 2019, and for me, it was my first time covering stuff in person as well. I was very, very nervous. I remember I went up to Mance Warner and he was my first interview because I was like, he'll interview himself for a couple minutes. Cool. But Andrew Thompson was also there with me. And I will not like be shy about this. Anything I could do to rehire Andrew Thompson, I would do. And before like a couple weeks ago, we hadn't hired anybody in a year. And I was still trying to rehire that guy because that's how much I want him as a part of our team. Love him. He's wonderful. He's everything that Fightful, tries to be as well. And he was out there doing that work. In fact, one time he came to me and he's like, "Sean, I think I'm friends with Nick Gage now." And I was like, "No, you're not. No, you're not." And then we go and we walk into the StarCast hall. And I know that I said I wouldn't drop F-bombs on the show, but it's a quote from across the room. I hear, "There's my fucking guy right there, Andrew Thompson." And I was like, I guess he's friends with Nick Gage now. That's cool. That's all right then. But he did a lot of good interviews there. He interviewed just a plethora of people. He walked around, he had a recorder, he got some good stuff. The last day, we're interviewing Jimmy Havoc. And this is before all the shit happened. It's so loud in that room that I, holding the camera, can't hear him with his recorder. And he asks him something like, "Oh, do you think you'll ever do anything with Progress again?" And Jimmy was like, I think he called him an idiot or something. And he meant it like sort of in jest. And it was funny because he had said like, "Oh, well, obviously they've got a WWE relationship. Don't be an idiot," or something like that. And I could see in Andrew's eyes in that moment, that if this interview didn't end very quickly, there was a story about Excalibur whipping that ass, there would be a story about Andrew Thompson whipping that ass right there. Like, I was like, I don't know what's going on, but I know something is going on there. And that ended, and Jimmy Havoc quickly saw that something was wrong, and he's like, I was only joking, mate. Only joking, mate. Ah, oi. One of those. Sounded like salad fingers out here. But I thought one of our writers was going to beat the living shit out of the deathmatch guy on the floor at StarCast. And Andrew's a professional to like the highest degree. Just look at who he surrounds himself with at Post. They're great people. But I thought in that moment, I was like, all right, this isn't going good. And I didn't know what he said until after the interview. And then I put the interview together. Like I edited it. And I think we like omitted it or something like that. I can't remember what we did, but it was actually very.
Did it run? I don't remember
feel
if
like
it
it
even
ran.
ran. I don't
I'm
think
sure
so.
that I'm sure that I pulled it down when all the, the bullshit happened with
Yeah, I don't
with
know if it
Havoc.
ran because Andrew sent me a lot of those interviews, pretty much all of them, and I transcribed a handful of them, and I never got that one. I don't think that one ran. I could
It's
be
sitting
wrong.
on our back end right now. It is all of
Okay.
1 minute and 34 seconds, which tells you all that you need to know.
I did not remember it running at all, but yeah, I guess you clipped out what needed to be clipped out.
Yeah, I think I did, but he looked at the camera, and it was like a joke between me, you, and Andrew. That screenshot of him looking at the camera like, I'm about to hurt this man. And Jimmy Havoc was like drinking a beer too. Like I think that he thought that his little asshole humor translated to everybody. It did not translate to him. It did not at all. And it could have been great. I used to say it could have been bad. It could have been great.
First off, I have 2 comments. 1, please let me know what Andrew texted you. Does he want to come back? How can we make that happen?
I wish.
2,
it was the show and tell clip.
Oh,
do you know the show and tell clip?
From which show?
Oh.
No, I don't think I do know the show and tell clip.
It's a guy at a job site, and he's filming, and you can't see anything, and he's getting fired by his boss at the construction site. And his boss is like, yeah, we can't have you here anymore. Just too many people. And the guy goes, why don't you tell me why you really fired me? Because I've been going to show and tell every Friday and seeing your daughter at the strip club. and the guy goes, come on, man. And they start getting into it. And he's like, hey, get the fuck out of here. And he goes, all right, I will. And you know where I'm going? Show and fucking tell.
I've never seen
it. It's an all-time classic. It's so good.
I'm gonna text Andrew right now and just be like, send me the show and tell clip. Second comment. I have a similar Andrew story, and I am not going to tell it on air.
Okay.
Because I can't. I think you know about it. I think you know about it, Sean.
Me?
I can't tell it because there are other people involved, and it's not Jimmy Havoc or another wrestler or anything like that. But I've seen that same look from Andrew when he felt disrespected and had to.
It takes a lot to get that out of him too. He's the nicest human being, man.
He is. Andrew's the best. Can we? I want to fire Joel. I fire literally everybody. I'll replace myself with Andrew.
That budget ain't gonna get made up with Joel.
That's why I said I'll replace myself. I don't know where I'm going, but I'll leave to get Andrew back. Like that's whatever needs to happen to get Andrew back.
It's a running joke. I'm like, well, I'll talk to you in about 3 months when I try to hire you again.
Yeah. Every single time you're like, okay, what can we do? I was like, can we just get Andrew? I don't know what we got to do, but can we just make this happen?
I wish that guy transforms every news site that he becomes a writer of in a positive way.
Best.
Y'all got to donate a ton of super chats so that we can make a play to get Andrew back, and then keep donating them.
It's not that.
Yeah, it's. I don't think it's the money at all. I think that he likes what he's doing in post, and he doesn't. He's good there. So more power to him for that. He should still come back here.
Couldn't he have worked for a shitty website? That way we look better.
I blame myself. I blame myself for this because when he left, he was. I'm gonna send Andrew this link. I feel like he deserves to be here for all of this. I
wish.
I know. I don't think he's doing news today. So.
Don't forget that Andreas Hale joins us in like 15 minutes, less than that. So just keep that in mind as we start inviting.
Andreas Hale will join us in 15 minutes. This show is something else today.
It's very possible. It is the morning where he is as well. So
ask him what he thinks about the Men in Black album. Which I finally got to explain that to him. I used to tell him I wanted him to review that album. And a lot of people in the service are like, "Oh, Will Smith, ha 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 ha." And I'm like, no, that was like the first soundtrack that I had, and I was like, maybe I was a child, and I got exposed to like The Roots, D'Angelo, Snoop Dogg, Nas, De La Soul, Destiny's Child, Alicia Keys. Like there was a lot of people on the Men in Black album that I discovered because of that otherwise I would not have heard in the middle of nowhere, Kentucky, where I live in a $13.44 house.
I didn't know Andreas was like the editor for Hip Hop DX when I visited that site every day when I was in like high school and everything until recently. So
I got 2 words for you. He is
cool. That was a cool connection. Back to I blame myself for Andrew being at Post, because when he left, he was like looking for work elsewhere, and he's like, "What do you think of this site? What do you think of that site?" And I'm like, "Oh, Post would be good. Like John Pollock's great, Way's great. Like they do good work. They have, they don't just do a bunch of nonsense aggregation and things like that. Like it's very, top tier kind of work." And I'm like, "Yeah, you'd be great there." And then it worked, and now I feel bad. I'm like, "No, you shouldn't go there. Go to e-wrestling or something. That's where you need to be."
E-wrestling. I forgot about them. I only remember them whenever I have to hit them up and be like, "Why are you taking our transcripts word for word?"
Oh yeah, I like gave up on just hitting them up because they just kept doing it. Same with Ringside. I'm just like, they're just gonna keep doing it. There's
Did you see the
no point.
The PW Mania engagement farming post yesterday?
Oh God,
From the fellow that's doing their interviews, which is the only reason I was familiar with his name, is because I know who's doing every interview for everybody because I keep my eye on that. But Vince McMahon deserves to have his story finished.
Okay, yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
It notably omitted one part about why he left.
Well, we can't know for sure
mention
why it happened, Sean.
Right?
We know
he's decided to retire.
That's right. My job is done. I'm gonna fly off into the sunset. Caden with the super chat saying, "Sean, I think we have the same jersey."
I don't think that's true at all.
Probably.
Yeah, as I say, I don't think that's true.
If you do,
that's a little weird.
Don't ever come back.
That's a little weird. I had that. I wear I have 88, like Sean with his years.
Not
88 on. Oh yeah. Please don't try to get me fired. I have 88 on my jerseys for my birth year and everything, and I have a 88 Panthers jersey. And I was out somewhere. I was working, and Greg Olson wore 88.
Mountain up.
Greg Olson wears 88, and I was like, "Oh, I think I have that same jersey." And I was like, "I'm pretty sure you don't," because I had my last name on the back of it. So, yeah. Who wore 94 in Toronto? Who wore 94 in Toronto?
No, Gilmore wore 93.
Sean Ross Sapp. Well, pretty soon it'll be me wearing 9 because this Fanatic site sucks, man.
It's awful. It's absolutely awful.
Who wore number 94?
And it's so funny. Jimmy has a friend there, so he won't shoot on him on the air.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
I don't know anything about this. When's Jimmy going to buy the Maple Leafs so I can be the general manager?
I would be the general manager.
You don't know anything about hockey. And I think we missed that super chat. I don't want
he would deep. Well,
yeah,
instead of you, he would go someone peripheral that knows me but is from Toronto, that has been on Fightful before. Alicia Atut.
Oh, I thought you were gonna say Showdown Joe. Is he from Toronto?
Yeah, he is.
Sergey Berezin, by the way, wore 94.
Oh, okay.
Ever tell you the Glover Teixeira Showdown Joe story?
Yes. I mean, you can tell it again, but I have heard this.
I'll do that.
Because I think you told that story, and then I told you my Glover Teixeira story of he wanted to. Me and Larry Zonka were hanging out.
Larry the legend.
Oh, absolute legend. Yeah, Glover asked where we wanted to eat, and so your story is very similar of going to like a diner or something with Showdown Joe and Glover Teixeira.
Yeah,
right?
you know, no, Joe was at a media day, and to the best of my knowledge, he was like, "Joe, what are you doing this weekend? And Joe goes, man, I'm putting together my deck. And he's like, no, my friend, we're putting together your deck. And he came over the next day and built a deck with Showdown Joe. He loved to see it. I ain't putting together my own deck.
Yeah, we're trying to get somebody to fix our deck because it's in ruins out here. Give me another raise so I can put a deck together for my family.
Don't you know I live in squalor? I can't be doing this. It's funny. I lived in a $57,000 house like a year ago. Why didn't they track that one down instead? That would have been a lot better for the content. There was an actual sinkhole there.
Oh, the sinkhole ate it up. It doesn't exist anymore. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I was told by somebody that the sinkhole might be in relation to it formerly being a part of the Underground Railroad. And I was like, well, that would be a lot neater had I known that fact before the sinkhole. Like that would have been a little bit more useful. Because at least then I could have
news, not the sinkhole itself.
Yeah, the sinkhole's not going to be useful whatsoever. But
no.
Oh, I got a fruit cup too. You guys
about
that?
I love it. This is now Sean joins us for his breakfast.
I don't eat breakfast till like 11, man. I'm trying to do the intermittent fasting so I can beat up Shaza some more whenever I feel like it. So I'm trying to only eat between like 11 and 6 or 11 and 5, whatever it may be.
I need Shaza to get announced for the Girls Next Door card in Toronto on Forbidden Door weekend so that her and I can get together and plot your demise, Sean Ross Sapp.
Ain't happening.
All right.
I think I can get Shaza to beat you up too, Joel.
Probably. You're on a warpath.
It's
a literal warpath.
I think I could get her to beat you up.
It's not that hard, but it's not important. We're not doing this. Stop trying to get people
what
to
do you mean? We could put that on her OnlyFans and just make some money off of that. Somebody would be into that.
I could my amazing promotional tweet with her yesterday.
Yes, that was something.
Was phenomenal. I saw somebody rage tweet about it. They're like, did he touch her thigh too? Like, why are y'all fantasy booking my wiener all the time? That's very weird. I don't get it.
It can always get weirder.
Sean, can I have this weekend off?
No.
Oh, that sucks.
Can I?
No, that ain't gonna happen.
Oh, that's unfortunate.
Just
trying.
Yeah. Whatever. At least I get to tell people that if they watch the Impact Under Siege post show, we're talking about the show that's actually live.
Are y'all doing
that? Will have been. Yes. The plan is on Friday evening. Myself and Cresta will talk about Under Siege. Jensen only joins us for the pay-per-views.
Oh, he's big time in y'all.
Oh yeah, I know. He big timed us immediately. He was like, "Nah, I'm good."
He's like, I ain't watching that Impact Plus nonsense.
But it's fun.
Reminder, folks, Andreas Hale is going to join us in about 5 minutes to talk AEW Double or Nothing. And we're going to have a Fightful Overbooked media call on Thursday at time to be determined. Maybe 5 p.m., maybe 6 p.m., maybe noon. I don't know. But we're going to do this. It's going to be a disaster, but we're going to make this happen.
Which one of y'all are jumping on the Triple H call tomorrow?
I have a show. It's a Shawn Michaels call, isn't it? Is it Shawn or
whatever?
Yeah, it's Sean today. It's Sean tomorrow and Triple H on Friday.
Double should do it. What are you doing tomorrow?
It's Triple H. Yeah, Triple H doing on Friday. Oh yeah, and
Friday we're doing a Saudi one.
Yeah, they're doing a press conference.
Okay.
Joel, what are you doing tomorrow at 10? Jump on the Shawn Michaels media call.
Yeah, get your feet wet.
What's tomorrow? Thursday?
Yeah. Think of an excuse real quick.
My child.
Say kid. Yeah, just say kid. That's been the
My
best.
My child is gonna fall down the stairs, and I gotta be there.
That's been the best excuse ever when I need to get out of something. I'm just like, oh no, kid's got something coming up. That's how I get out of all the work that I don't do. It's like, oh, the kid's got something coming up here.
See, I can't do that as easily because my kid's only 14 months old, so he's not exactly doing many things.
Say he's sick. Just say he's sick.
I already have to go to the doctor.
Why are we discussing the excuse in front of me?
What's the worst that could happen?
I just assume you don't pay attention to me like the chats where I do all these articles and then you're like, hey, did this get done? It's like, yeah, like 3 hours ago.
Once I tell you the process of who's been feeding me ideas for that.
I know the wife said she was going to start feeding you into like, tell Jeremy to do this, even though it was already done. I already know that bit.
Oh, the bit she sent me that I was doing was way better. She said, here's the bit. Just go down his author page in reverse order. Start sending him everything.
Why is she against me?
Because she's amazing. That's why.
I mean, that's factual, but why is she against me?
I'll say this. It wasn't a hole in one, but it was a solid birdie there. I can't give her golf skills any credit yet.
You have to stop burying my wife's golf skills.
Her and Cher with those clubs were like, bam! If it were chopping wood, they were chopping wood, we'd have been cooked. But it wasn't. Man, they were bad.
Why don't you put Pulaski on the NXT call? Really, really show them.
Oh boy,
that sounds like a horrible idea.
That's why
listen. We just got them to mention our name like on the broadcast. Like, my God. I said, hey guys, I'm coming over to the UK. And they said, we will gladly accommodate you. And I'm like, what the hell's going on here? What's happening? And now y'all want me to put Alex on the call.
Yeah,
I mean, it would be funny.
Bad idea.
Have him do a voice.
How close are we to Andreas? Because I don't want to go into his time.
Oh, he said he was going to join us shortly. He just messaged me. So
yeah. We had him at 11:25. So
yeah, I do find it funny. So whenever people cancel Patreon, they have an option to list like what it's going to be, and I'm the only one who sees those. I'm the only one who reads them. But a lot of times it's like, Alex. I'm like, you can just scroll past. It's a bit. It's a bit. It's not only.
Is it?
A lot of it. To me, it is. I mean, to me, it's a bit. To me, it's a bit because
it's a bit much.
That ain't the type of reviewing that I want to do. But I'm like, all right, if people want somebody that rages but doesn't like say anything personally harmful, we can do that. I thought about giving him an AEW show on Select too, but
didn't Joel pitch that? Joel pitched AEW.
Pitched to sour.
I mean, a lot of people have. But
you know who's really good at it right now is actually Jimmy Makram over on True Heel Heat. He does one with SP3, and he's funny. He's good stuff. I put him over for that.
SP3 always mentions that show, and he's like, "Yeah, Jimmy just can't stand AEW. Just wants to bury it all the time."
Yeah, it does, and they do a good job. The show is wildly entertaining, but there you go. If you're ever looking for a Sour Graps AEW guy, because you've got Alex doing the Sour Graps AEW show or the regular AEW show, so there's your balance.
We need more SP3 on all of our channels too.
Well, we need less Sean Ross Sapp because you all have an honest to God guest.
That's very true.
I thought
you were going to stick around.
Deserves his own time. What's that?
I thought you were going to stick around and say hi.
I will say hi.
All right.
Hello. We'd like to welcome in our guest for this show that I absolutely host and did not run in on. Do you guys want to introduce him? It's your job.
And Joel has a proper introduction lined up, I assume, and then Sean just brings him on.
I wouldn't count on that.
That's what happens. No, he's the host of Fighting Words on Sporting News. He's the co-host of the Corner podcast and, of course, Fight Nation on Sirius XM. He is a wonderful, wonderful talker of sports, and we have to have him here to talk about AEW Double or Nothing in Las Vegas. Andreas Hale is here. Hi, how are you? Good to see you.
Wait, that was an introduction. Thanks, Sean. Hi, thank you for sticking around. You leaving me now?
I only stuck around to say hi to you. I'm not in town this week, but
nonsense.
Unfortunately, yeah, I was about Vegased out, man. Like it's a young man's game out there.
I know, and I live here, and I'm over
young.
it. Well, you enjoy being at home and not being in Vegas for Double or Nothing this weekend because
beautiful Lexington, Kentucky, where hotel rooms are not $500 this week. I see people tweeting Tony Khan. They're like, You wonder why tickets aren't moving. We can't afford it. The flights are insane.
Before I could even say it, this is problematic. When I saw they were doing Memorial Day weekend, I was like, have you guys thought about, announcing this card in advance so people can save their money? That's the challenge. Flights and rooms are insane. It's Memorial Day weekend. The pools are open. Parties are going on. There's all kinds of stuff going on here. The Golden Knights are in the playoffs. WNBA starting. Nobody's trying to spend $600 for a hotel room for one night to go to Double or Nothing, especially if you're trying to do Dynamite and Double or Nothing. It means you got to be out for a week. People can't afford that.
And to a smaller scale, that happens in Chicago with Labor Day, because Chicago is a travel hub through Labor Day weekend. It happens all the time, and I understand Tony Khan does not have to worry about money or anything like that, but his audience does, and that's like the biggest thing that I look at, and I'm like, just do it a week later or a week sooner. I mean, doing All In when they're doing it, I think that's a smart idea. I think All Out should probably be that weekend, and maybe switch it up a little bit, because I'm not going back to Vegas for a while. We got Nashville. It's Southern Vegas. Like we don't need regular Vegas. We don't need that.
Right. If you say so.
We don't need actual things. We've got Nashville.
It's called Nash Vegas. I mean, some people call it that. Yeah.
When you're driving down there from Kentucky, like you'll pass like 4 or 5 bachelorette parties on the road as it happens. Like it's but it is like Southern Vegas now. But then where like Impact has their shows, it's completely out of downtown and everything like that. It's isolated from the rest of the city and all that. But yeah, it's a good time. But Andreas, it's great to see you.
Yeah, it's great to see you too. It would be nice to see you in the flesh, but we gotta tell Tony stop doing Memorial Day weekend cards, because
we gotta.
True wrestling fans can't pay for this shit. It's absurd.
I know. I'll probably be at All In and All Out. I'll see you guys later.
Bye, Sean. Thank you for your egg cameo there. Andreas, thank you for joining us. That was not how our show's been off the rails today. That was not our typical intro, but thank you for joining us. Let's jump in and start kind of right there. The gates and the attendance for this one, a little down from last year, where Hangman Page threatened the first $1 million gate in AEW history, but it still happened. They run Memorial Day weekend every single year. You mentioned a couple of things. The Vegas Knights are in the play. The Golden Knights are in the playoffs. The WNBA is starting. The ticket prices, card. What do you think the factor is in all of this? Because I can't chalk it up fully to Memorial Day when this has become a yearly staple for AEW.
No, it's the lateness of announcing this full card. The fact that nobody knew who was going to be on this card in advance so they could go, I want to go to this, because it's not novelty anymore. We know Double or Nothing is coming. And then you can say, I'll see it next year. Obviously, last year, we didn't have a Double or Nothing in Vegas the prior year. So it was like everybody was coming back. Pandemic was over. Everybody was excited. Now, this year, you look at it, everybody's even more excited just to come to Vegas. But if you don't have a card announced and your main event is a little shaky, if we want to be honest, and you've announced FTR versus Jay Lethal and Jeff Jarrett, that's not getting people to jump out of their seats to come to the show. It's not getting people to travel halfway across the country. Not to mention, like I said, I don't know how they booked this, but with Dynamite and Rampage being tonight in Las Vegas, and then you have this 5-day gap with nothing going on. Yes, you have the Fan Fest on Saturday. But if you're a fan and you wanted to do all of those things and make it like a weekly thing, like you want to stay out here for a whole week, you can't really do it, because what are you going to do for the other 4 days? So all those things factored in are the reasons why I believe that ticket sales are down. Because again, last year when we had Double or Nothing in Vegas, we had the card announced a little bit earlier, and we knew what the main event was, and it was a very hyped main event. This one doesn't have a lot of momentum, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but it feels like it's the Darby and MJF show, and Jungle Boy and Sammy Guevara just kind of there.
Yeah, just kind of piggyback on your point. Originally, Rampage was going to be a live show, and then there was a whole snafu with the venue, and things got changed up. So you're right, it does create a huge gap. FanFest can only give you so many people to stick around and want to be there from Wednesday all the way through Sunday on a very expensive weekend. Talking about the card, I guess I'll just ask you straight up, what's missing from the show, but also what's massive for this show?
Oh man, what's missing from the show? What's missing in the show is it being announced early. But more importantly, what's missing is a lot of the payoffs that we anticipated. We haven't heard anything about Swerve and Keith Lee, which feels like it's been going on for an eternity. House of Black feels like they should have a better feud. Anarchy in the Arena feels like it should have been announced a while ago because you knew it was coming. You could have kind of played around with it, at least made the announcement. That feels big. And that was the most fun I've had at a wrestling show, and I've been to a ton of them. When I was at Anarchy in the Arena last year, I was thrilled. Everything was in the crowd, wild things playing through the arena. So I'm excited about this Anarchy in the Arena. But it feels like it's missing good storytelling to get to the show. As a wrestling fan who's like just was coming off this phenomenal Bloodline story heading into WrestleMania, it almost didn't matter. Of course, we want to see great matches, and that's what Tony Khan does. He gives us great matches, but we don't have great connective tissue with the stories. None of these stories are truly exciting us.
I mean, the biggest story is the Pillars story. At least that's supposed to be. It's the AEW World Title out there. It's the Pillars. They've been dubbed this. They were there from the start. What in your mind is missing from this Pillar story? Because I think you share the sentiment of a lot of fans, certainly myself included. There's definitely something that ain't connecting the way I'm sure AEW hoped it was going to connect with the audience.
Yeah, I think when they booked this, they was like, what would be great? The 4 pillars, the foundation. But do you know how much the pillars have changed over the past couple of years? You guys like Ricky Starks coming in who felt like he was a major player. And we'll talk about consistency with booking as well. It gets very strange on how consistently they'll book an act and then they'll just kind of fall to the background. But these 4 don't feel like the pillars that they were originally. And it feels like MJF kind of cannibalizes everything. More importantly, Jungle Boy getting kind of beat up by Roos last week doesn't help give him momentum. Sammy Guevara doesn't really have a character. He's a guy who does amazing moves, but he doesn't have any stickiness to the other 3. And again, it feels like Darby is really carrying this event, but it doesn't feel big. It doesn't feel like what they imagined it would be. Because, I mean, you can't tell me right now that these are the 4 pillars of AEW. If you saw somebody that just started watching last year and you said this is the foundation of AEW, it would have been like, nah, I can see MJF, maybe Darby, but the other 2, I can't see that.
There's a looming question over AEW right now, and that's the CM Punk side of things. Do you think that the announcement of the first Collision show, if it ends up being Chicago and people start talking about CM Punk again, do you think that lends more tickets or more eyes on Double or Nothing, or are people just looking past Double or Nothing and saying, when's my CM Punk coming back?
Yeah, they might be doing that. I mean, it'd be great if he, if we got a surprise. I like surprises in pro wrestling. I don't like to know shit. I like to walk into things and feeling like, oh, I didn't know that was going to happen. Surprise me. When Moxley arrived at the first Double or Nothing, everybody was surprised and thrilled, and it gave you momentum heading into those other shows. If they announced that this Chicago show is Collision, everybody's going to be looking for CM Punk, and they will look right past the show. Because again, Double or Nothing just doesn't feel big this year. And we all can agree, when the bell rings, the action is going to be phenomenal. We know these matches are going to be great, but it just doesn't feel big. It felt like a lot of attention has been paid attention to CM Punk coming back, his pending return, more so than building out a world for this card to exist where, again, it's enticing on a number of levels. House of Black is one of the best presentations that we have in pro wrestling right now. And why don't we have any momentum with a true feud with them? It doesn't feel like there's, again, no stickiness to it. Nothing that I'm looking forward to. FTR and Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal. Look, I love Jeff Jarrett and Jay Lethal, but ain't nobody asked for that. Nobody on the planet asked for that match. And it might be great, but we know there's so many, like even the tag division is not what it once was. So I feel like if you announce Collisions in Chicago, everybody has that expectation. It takes another element of potential surprise away from Double or Nothing.
If CM Punk doesn't show up at Double or Nothing, let's say all the action is great, the matches deliver, but there's no CM Punk. Is the show a disappointment just off of that?
No. Personally, I'm not expecting CM Punk to arrive.
Okay.
I think we've all gotten into our heads, especially those who watch AEW regularly. We know the action is going to be good. So as long as the wrestling is good and it's not like a 6-hour marathon, I think we're going to be okay. But the letdown has already happened in terms of building to the card. That's the only issue that I've had with this. That's the issue that will come out of this. We hope that there's going to be some kind of reset with Collision happening on Saturday. I don't know what Rampage is about to become. Is it going to be their main event? I don't know what it is anymore. But falling out of that, it feels like we can fall into a new era of AEW. But regardless of what happens, the disappointment was building the card. Unless the action is trash, which I don't anticipate, I think we'll be fine with the card. And it doesn't need a CM Punk debut, a re-debut. But if we had him, it'd be great. It'd be newsworthy. But I want to ask you guys this. Does it feel like CM Punk is almost eating the entire world of AEW? Like there's so much attention on him coming back that maybe it's preventing other things from flourishing. Because a lot of talent, again, I talk about somebody like Ricky Starks or Powerhouse Hobbs who dropped the TNT title, which I never understood why they didn't do Wardlow and Hobbs here rather than on TV. But it feels like all the attention on CM Punk is like sucking the air out of everything else they have going on. Do y'all agree?
Yep.
Okay.
I think in some ways, yes. In other ways, I mean, Tony's just got to get stuff together a little bit better. Ricky Starks is a big proponent of Ricky Starks. Swerve and Keith Lee, CM Punk has nothing to do of why this match has not been blown off in 3 months now. So there, some ways, yeah, I think the pillars, it does kind of overshadow some of that, but in other ways, you just got to book things a little bit better and a little bit more cohesive. Joel, you're about to say something.
So just kind of piggybacking off of your point, Jeremy, the booker is the same person who's dealing with the situation at hand, and that's trying to bring back CM Punk. And as a result, if you are doing literally everything, it's the spinning plates analogy that I use here so many days of the week when we're doing this show. He can only spin the plates for so long until they start wobbling, and then he's got to go back and spin them again. These are plates that are currently about to fall when it comes to the booking of the show and getting people amped up for more than just the match itself. Get us into the storyline, get us into the actual event. I think Andreas was great saying, they haven't built a world in which this card exists. I think it's the perfect way to put it. And then the CM Punk stuff just kind of exists as like this overarching, this is the guy, he is the guy, but we have an entire card of people who are not him that should be absolutely focused on you. Wednesdays shouldn't be about where CM Punk. Wednesdays should be about what's going on for the next 2 hours with my AEW World Champion, my TNT Champion, my TV, all the champions, all the stars of the show. That's where you should be focusing your time. And you're not getting that as cohesively as you would if you weren't so focused on getting your plus delta back in the fold.
I have a question about just Vegas in general, Andres. Is it a wrestling city, a wrestling town? Because you've covered a lot of boxing, you've covered a lot of MMA, and like it's the fight capital of the world according to Dana White and everything. But wrestling wise, yes, the first Double or Nothing did well. It was the first AEW pay-per-view. The last one did well coming out of 2 years missed with the pandemic. But like WWE tried to run Allegiant last year and they had to go into, I think, MGM because it wasn't selling as well. This one not selling as well. Is it a wrestling town basically?
It can be. So let's talk about the Allegiant show. That was Money in the Bank that ended up at the MGM.
Yeah.
They went head to head with Dana White that night in the UFC.
Yeah.
You can't do that, right? Like you need to pay attention to what you're booking. It's Vegas, but some people will think there's not a lot of crossover, but if I'm in Vegas and I have to choose an event to go to, not a fight, an event, and the UFC treats their big cards like events, I may choose that over going to a stadium show at Allegiant for pro wrestling. So you have to kind of pick your dates and your locations wisely because you have to rely on the locals rather than people that are flying into town on a particular weekend. Because again, something like Double Nothing, as big as it is, there's too many people coming to Vegas this weekend. It's just way too many. So it's going to hurt the card overall. But it can be. Impact does great here when they do their shows over at Sam's Town, which is like way off the strip. When GCW comes through, they do great shows. FSW does great shows here. So it can be, you just can't compete up against big fights because it's the fight capital of the world. So you got to pick your spots wisely.
Now, if I'm coming in for Double or Nothing, you're in Vegas. Where do I have to go to eat? And let's say I'm on a budget. I'm on a wrestling fan budget. Give me one place because maybe people are watching that are like, I'm coming to town. I got to know.
Yeah, that's good, man. I'm a big brunch guy. Anybody who knows me and Kel Dansby from the Corner Podcast, we talk about brunch. So like everywhere I go, I look for a good brunch. I got a spot out here called Mimosas. And it's called Mimosas because the mimosas are like the size of your head. And they have multiple different flavors. The breakfast is fantastic. It's a great brunch. And it's not too expensive. Stay off the strip. I'll say that to anybody. Just stay off the strip because everything's overpriced on the strip. Border Grill has a great brunch. It's a Mexican place out here. But it's way too expensive. So there are other spots that you could pick that are off of the strip. They are Lotus of Siam. There's if you like Thai food, let's see, there's a few. Naked City Pizza. Oh, Naked City Pizza in Vegas. If you're looking for a good pizza, it's right off the strip. It is mwah. It's delicious and it's cheap. It's fucking pizza. Like, you can't go wrong with that. But Vegas has great food. Just when you're here, just stay off of the strip because they will annihilate your pockets.
Great advice.
We've talked about the pillars, a little bit about Anarchy in the arena. What else from this card kind of stands out to you?
What else is there? I mean, we just announced Jade and Taya, right? And
yeah, we have Adam Cole, Chris Jericho. The one that stands out in a bad way to me. Go ahead.
I am so uninterested in Adam Cole and Chris Jericho. Like, having Roderick Strong win. Why? What? Chris Jericho. Okay, we have diminishing returns on Chris Jericho going over on Chris Jericho because he loses like all the time now. He lost to Ricky Starks, and for no reason, Ricky Starks was like, "I want a rematch." Why? You already beat him. Then you beat him again. Diminishing returns. I get it. Adam Cole and Chris Jericho sounds good on a marquee, but in terms of what it does for Adam Cole, absolutely nothing. I'm sorry, Jeremy. I had to get that out there.
But here's the thing. I'm gonna flip it around. It's an unsanctioned match. So when the wins and losses, that's the thing. But this is why they're gonna flip this story on its head, in that Jericho typically doesn't really give anybody much after they're done with him, right? That's been the story. Jericho's gonna win this match. And then Adam Cole might actually go on and challenge for the AEW World Championship because while he lost, it doesn't affect his win-loss record. So this is a very strange world that they've set up for this this particular match and moving forward. I had to put it out there.
Thank you.
We have a match that I don't completely understand. This is one where I'm like, okay, where is Swerve and Keith Lee? Ethan Page and the Guns against the Hardy Party, where if Hardy Party wins, Matt Hardy gets Ethan Page's contract. We had the firm deletion. Weren't they deleted?
Yeah, I don't understand it. I'm also disappointed that firm deletion was on Rampage, and it could have been like on the buy-in for this. It gives something for people to do as they're coming in late, or coming in the arena late. You're watching on the screen, you're buying merch, you can see it. The action's not in the ring, so it's totally okay. If I'm at home, it's a great way to go in. Like the deletion matches and Impact were a staple. Now it feels like an afterthought, and now you're getting this match. Again, nobody asked for this match, and nobody understands why it exists. You just mentioned Keith Lee. I keep going back to Keith Lee and Swerve. In November, it was also the last time the tag division felt really hot when all of them were involved. Now it's kind of like it's fizzled out, and we get this 6-man tag that I don't even understand why it's happening. Even in terms of, you look at the players in the match. Can you tell me, as great as AEW does when they put their matches together and how they play out, I'm looking at this match like, this is like a 3.5 star at best. This can't be fantastic. What are we doing here? Not for a pay-per-view. That's Dynamite stuff.
We have Wardlow and Christian Cage in a ladder match. Christian was buried the last time he competed, but now he's getting a title shot.
Going from the depths of hell to the ascension of heaven. Yeah, I know. It's
what
weird.
Are we doing? What are we doing? Again, Hobbs beats Wardlow. You have Hobbs starts coming out in this great, fantastic low ride. I don't know why he's paired with QT Marshall. That shit doesn't make any sense in the world to me. He doesn't need QT. But he had this low rider. I felt like, oh, this is great. They can use this as something over the next few weeks. They destroyed it in the same night. Then we go into the match the following week, and Wardlow goes over on Hobbs. And what is Hobbs doing now? Nothing. There would have been so much more juice in them having a ladder match at Double or Nothing, or a rematch, or building towards a feud. This Christian thing, again, he's great at ladder matches. He's a great talent. I'll never diminish Christian. He's a phenomenal worker, but I don't get it. Why? I know Luchasaurus is going to interfere, but I don't care. I just saw you get buried, bro. You don't get this opportunity. It doesn't make any sense. What happened to the rankings? I guess those don't matter anymore, right?
Long gone. Those are long.
Once August last year.
They never mentioned it again. It was just like, all right, we're just going to act like this never happened. But now losers are getting opportunities at titles, which makes it even worse. Doesn't make any sense.
Once they veered into the more sports entertainment realm of things, they're like, oh yeah, we got to get rankings out of here because the synergy ain't there with those two things.
They veered into a blackjack battle royal for the AEW International Championship. 21 man. So far, we know Orange Cassidy, who's the champion, will be in there. Aaron Solo, Powerhouse Hobbs, as we just mentioned, QT Marshall, and 17 other people. Well, the big question is also, will Orange Cassidy walk in with that title after tonight? He has an AEW International Championship match against Kyle Fletcher. Or do we have a change at Double or Nothing? Is this a match that's of at all interesting to you? Like, what are you thinking about this one?
I'm always interested in Orange Cassidy. He's the one character that's wildly unique. He's always entertaining. His matches are different. He does everything different from everybody else. Like, regardless of how you book Orange Cassidy, the way he handles himself is magnetic. So, yeah, I think he beats Kyle Fletcher tonight. And I think he leaves the Battle Royal with a feud instead of losing the title. He needs a new feud. He needs a rival. He needs somebody that's going to poke at him for the next several weeks. He hasn't really had that. He just kind of gets one-offs. Hopefully we build that through this Battle Royal. And I think it might be fun. Some of the people in there are just like any other Battle Royal. You're like, I don't even know why you're in here. You're not going to win. QT Marshall. I say QT Marshall's name a lot because he's on my screen a lot, and I never can understand why. I think he's a tremendous agent. I think he's a great talent behind the scenes. But there's QTC. I don't need any of this shit. But the Battle Royal, I think, will be a fun match.
Is there someone on your radar that you'd like to see Orange Cassidy feud with coming out of this Battle Royal on Sunday?
That's a good question. I don't know. I honestly don't know. How about Jay White? What are we doing with Jay White these days? I feel like they're kind of blowing off the Stark Street, which again I don't get. And I feel like Jay White's going to be in this Battle Royal because he has nothing else to do, which is weird for a big signing. So I feel like maybe we go into this and build Orange Cassidy versus Jay White over the next several weeks.
Do you think the Collision and not Rampage, who knows what's going to happen in that show, Collision and Dynamite, like the split on this, how do you think that plays out with AEW?
If they stick to it, I think it could be really good. This company is grossly overwhelmed with talent. And if you have two 2-hour shows, I think you have more opportunity to spread the wealth rather than Rampage feeling like an afterthought. And Dynamite, you're trying to cram everything into Dynamite, which means a lot of things get missed. What I do hope is that Tony has help booking a second show and they find a way for it to be distinctly different in look and feel than Dynamite. When Paul Heyman took over SmackDown with the SmackDown 6, it felt different. It was the one time that the brand split actually worked because you felt like you were watching two different shows. But if you start commingling the talent, it dissolves really quick and it just feels like another 2 hours of wrestling that I don't have time for.
Fightful Select did report that Bryan Danielson is part of the creative process surrounding Collision. So there is somebody there who might be able to take Tony's ear and say, hey, let's move this in this direction, or let's, have a little bit of cohesive storytelling here on this show versus Dynamite. So you make a good point. It's very true. Jeremy.
Joel, do you have any more wrestling questions? Because I'm not having Andreas Hale on and not talking a little bit of rap and hip hop here.
No, go ahead.
So I found out you were the editor of Hip Hop DX when I basically was checking that website every single day when I was in high school and college and things like that, because that's how I kind of kept up on the music. For someone who has fallen out of love with hip hop and rap, and I just listened to largely classics that I grew up on, is there anyone out there I need to pay attention to of like, this is a guy? And I'll tell you some of my favorite: Eminem fan, Dre, Snoop, people like that. I do like Kendrick, but like Jay-Z, Ludacris, those are the people I grew up on and really enjoyed listening to, and that still listen to this day. Is there someone out there that like, this is somebody you should listen to and pay attention to who is of that ilk?
Man, that's a good question. I mean, right now I'm listening to the K Tronada and Amine album, which is K Tramine, which if anybody's familiar with K Tronada, is a Chicago producer. It's kind of like house hip hop, but it's dope. It's really dope. That's a really good album to listen to. Jeremy, I feel you, because there's way too much music right now, and it's almost impossible to get through everything that releases each week. So we tend to revert back to what we know and listen to the classics. Like I tend to listen to Nas's Illmatic like once a week, or Reasonable Doubt, or Good Kid, Mad City. So it's really difficult. In terms of like new rappers, it's hard, man. I feel like I'm the old washed up head where I'm like, I remember in my day, rappers made sense and, I can understand what they were saying. And I feel like that guy now. But everybody from Griselda, Benny the Butcher, obviously, West Side Gun, Conway the Machine. I think they're all great if you're looking for that aesthetic of grittier hip hop. But other than that, it's tough, man. I have to actually look into my phone and see what I'm listening to these days. I'm always a big fan of Freddie Gibbs, who has had a bunch of great albums with Madlib, with Alchemist. Currency's always doing some great stuff, but these are like the old staples of hip hop. In terms of anybody new, I can't really find anybody. Good luck.
I'm just waiting for, if Eminem puts out a new song, new album. Jay-Z basically doesn't put out any, like Nas just put out something new. I'm just like, yeah, please give me the people that I grew up listening to, even if it's not as good as the classic stuff. I'm like, all right, at least I recognize this voice, and this is a person who has spoken to me in the past. A very generic question, but off of a Chris Rock film. Top 5, Andreas.
Top 5 rappers?
Yeah.
Oh my God. All right. In no particular order: Nas, Jay-Z, Pac, Biggie, Kendrick.
Okay. A little chalk. A little chalk there, but I'm not mad at it,
Now, I'm going to reverse this. My favorite rappers of all time, because they're the GOAT. My favorite. Fonte from Little Brother, Royce the 5'9",
Hell
Kendrick
yeah.
Lamar, Jay-Z, and Nas is a tricky one to me because there's 3 eras of Nas. There's early Nas, there's trash Nas that was in the middle, and there's Nas with Hit Boy, the resurgent Nas. Those two, if you take away the middle part of Nas, he's in my top 5. He's one of my favorites of all time. But will I put him in my top 5? Yeah, I guess I will. Yeah, but I'm a big Royce the 5'9" fan. Been a big Royce fan forever. I think he's incredible. He doesn't get his due. Fonte from Little Brothers, though. Well, big fan.
I'm 100% with you on Royce, as Eminem's my favorite rapper of all time. And obviously a lot of Bad and Evil stuff. I've listened to just a lot of Royce off of that, and then his solo projects as well. And Royce is one of those guys I will just constantly support and check out, because due to the connection first with Eminem and then listening to his solo stuff. And yeah, I think a lot of people who really listen to hip hop understand Royce and give him his due, but he never blew mainstream type of way. And so people just don't give him any type of credit when it comes to that. Like the Slaughterhouse albums are really good as well. Some of the stuff is a little, Eminem tried to dominate some of that stuff too much. And I say that as an Eminem fan.
Yeah, it got tough for a minute with Slaughterhouse. It was too many personalities in the room. I was working at BET when they formed. So I was there the day that they were telling people. And Royce's manager, Keno, used to live down the street from me when I lived in New Jersey. So I would hear unreleased Royce stuff. And yeah, the stuff he did would blow your mind, but never got his due, man. I don't think Royce ever got his due.
Your favorite rapper can find themselves vibing to Royce's Lost Sessions. All right. So
yes.
Indeed. There you go.
Somebody that's relatively new, not relatively new. I've really enjoyed Tyler the Creator's recent albums. I didn't like Tyler originally. I wasn't a big Odd Future guy because I felt like it was a little bit too crass for the sake of being crass and not clever enough. But these last 2 albums I thought were phenomenal. So yeah, that's another one that's creeping up my greats list because he makes phenomenal music.
All right, last one, Andreas. Not hip hop related, but we've been telling a lot of Vegas stories and didn't go get jumped by people. Sean has told some Vegas stories. Do you have any just Vegas stories you can tell here on the air?
Yeah, I mean, I live here, so I got quite a few. Here's a fun one. I actually wrote about this. I was on the Strip the night that Tupac got shot and killed. I was in the MGM when the little brawl happened. So I was a kid, and one of my friends drove, and Mike Tyson would fight, and we wouldn't watch the fight. We just drive to the MGM and just hang out in the lobby to see all the celebrities. And we saw a big commotion, and somebody was like, "That's Tupac." And I was like, "I ain't no damn Tupac." And this is before everybody had cell phones. This is before camera phones. So you just take somebody's word for it. And we decided as a bunch of barely teenagers that we're going to go to Club 662, which was the Tupac Death Row Club. We were never getting into that shit. We just wanted to go because we wanted to see all the girls. And we drove, and there were cops all over Flamingo. And they told us, you can't go this way. You got to go home. So I decided I worked at the grocery store at the time as a bag boy. So I was like, all right, fine. We just go home. We can't get to where we're going. I go to the grocery store. I clock in at 6 a.m. A pager goes off. This is how old I am. I have a fucking pager. A pager goes off. I go to the payphone. I say, my boy calls and he's like, yo, did you hear? I was like, what happened? Tupac got shot. I was like, where? On Flamingo, where we were just at, bro. I was like, what? Yeah. So I was there the night that Pac got shot. I was in the vicinity of where the action had happened that night. And so in the Mob Museum out here in Las Vegas, I'm part of the exhibit. They have like a video exhibit talking about Tupac and his influence. So I'm part of that. Another thing, kind of a Vegas story. I was in this youth group and we were the Martin Luther King Youth Council. And Mike Tyson used to come to our meetings and bring us fried chicken when we were kids. It's the weirdest shit ever.
Rules.
Yeah,
did he bring his pigeons with him? I know Mike Tyson's
No.
a big pigeon person.
What do you
Yeah,
think?
Yeah, we get chicken made out of pigeons. That's why them pigeons were missing. I don't know where Mike got that chicken from. That's enough. Mike's gonna kill us. But yeah, Mike Tyson used to pull up to our meetings and bring us fried chicken every week. And he would drive up in his Porsche, and it was in the hood. And I was like, what is Mike doing? He's got a Porsche in the hood, but it's Mike Tyson. He don't give a shit. Who's gonna tell Mike to not drive a Porsche in the hood? But it was Mike Tyson. He used to come to our meetings.
Oh, that rules. Andreas, thank you for joining us. Much appreciated. Let everyone know where they can find you at.
Yeah, absolutely. So at Andreas Hale on all social media platforms. You can check out my podcast with Kel Dansby called The Corner Podcast, where we talk boxing, MMA, and pro wrestling out of the Blue Wire Studios out here in Las Vegas at the Wynn. Over at The Sporting News, where I'm the senior combat sports writer. You can find all my written work, and a show called Fighting Words, where we debate topics each week in boxing, primarily boxing. Don't have enough MMA writers. Might need some. So if you're listening, might need some MMA writers, and eventually pro wrestling too. And that's pretty much it. Oh, the one other thing behind me, Our Heroes Rock. Me, Big E from the WWE, and Johnny Davenport, who, if you look at everybody's dope gear, Johnny has made it. Our cartoon, we did a Kickstarter about 2 years ago. We raised over $140,000. The pilot episode, which features Rhapsody as Ruby Bridges, is right around the corner. An announcement date is coming very, very soon, but we've been really working hard at Our Heroes Rock on social media. And I think that's everything. Yeah, that's it. Appreciate y'all.
Thank you, Andreas. Much appreciated. Enjoy this weekend. Stay safe out there. Have fun. Take it all in. I mean, you're in Vegas all the time, but hopefully it's a good show and you don't walk away disappointed.
I hope not. I don't think I'll walk away disappointed. Just the build was disappointing, but once I'm in it, I'm in it. And it's anarchy in the arena. Can't go wrong with that.
Okay. Well, one more question now. They can't play.
Sure.
Maybe they can't play Wild Thing, but like, what song are they playing for Anarchy in the Arena this time?
You know it's going to be something crazy. What'd you say, Joel?
The Young Bucks theme just over and over again.
Super Kick Party?
Yo, they got to have something crazy. You know, Tony likes to go all out for these pay-per-views just to purchase a song just for this. I don't know. I'm sure they'll play Wild Thing, but it's got to be something else. I mean, I wish it was back in the days like when New Jack was in ECW and Natural Born Killers would just play through all of his matches. That was fucking nuts. Give me something like that. Not gonna happen. But I don't know, man. We can't be playing Kansas in a fight. So I'm not sure.
Somebody said welcome. Somebody said welcome to the jungle. I'm thinking maybe Queen. We Will Rock You. Like,
no, that's expensive as shit.
Yeah, well, Tony's got money. He's got a new
Dragula by Rob Zombie.
No. I mean, Seven Nation Army would be dope. I don't know if they play that in the arena though. I don't know, man. Yeah, no, but he got it right. Like shit, he got it. That's the crazy thing. I'll report back and let you know how the vibe was in the arena. If you guys want to have me back, I'd love to talk about how the feeling was for that match.
Oh, you're welcome back anytime, Andreas. Again, I appreciate you doing this. I've been following your work for a long time, longer than I even thought once I learned of the Hip Hop DX stuff. And I appreciate you joining us today. Thank you, man.
Thank you, guys. Talk to you later.
Take care.
There you go. Andreas Hale from the Corner Podcast, from Sporting News, from multiple other outlets as well. Check out Our Heroes Rock. If you're listening to this interview clipped, the link is down below. Joel, I know we got to get out of here shortly. But Andreas Hale, great. I'm really happy we had him on. That was somebody I really wanted to get on, somebody whose work I've followed and respected for a very long time. So I'm happy he was able to join us.
Yeah, he was fantastic. It was great get. Great to have him on. Spoke very honestly about his expectations with Double or Nothing and what is or isn't happening in Las Vegas this weekend. So we'll see how it plays out in Vegas. I'm sure a lot of people will have a lot to say about their experience. And it was just good to have a Vegas native talk about what's going on the ground. And yeah, if he wants to come back, standing offers there. And if he wants to come and talk about Anarchy in the Arena or whatever he wants, he's always welcome. That'd be great. Before we wrap up AEW Dynamite tonight, other than the announcement for the first Collision, we talked about Orange Cassidy, Kyle Fletcher for the International Championship. House of Black takes on Blake Christian, AR Fox, and Metalik in an open house match. I assume that there will be crumpets and tea and all the things that you give out at an open house. Do you think this sets anything up for House of Black going into Double or Nothing, or is it just a match for match's sake?
I think the Guns come out, or not the Guns, the Acclaimed come out after this, and that sets up Double or Nothing. Because otherwise, I don't know what House of Black is doing if it's not the Acclaimed. The Acclaimed won that little trios thing, the trios battle royal, so like they should get a shot. But I guess it's open house, so anybody can come out. I imagine, regardless, I think it'll be the Acclaimed and Billy. But whoever it is, House of Black wins. Their Double or Nothing challengers just walk out, and that's how the match is set up.
A lot of we'll hear from FTR, we'll hear from all four pillars, we'll hear from Ricky Starks. I think the Starks segment will set up a tag match for either Forbidden Door or moving forward past that. Maybe they'll set up something for the buy-in, which I hope they don't do. I hope it's on the actual card, but there are already 9 matches deep on it on Double or Nothing. Starks and Action Andretti against Juice and Jay White. That could be, I don't know. I don't know. Let's just finish it up. I've said it before. White and Rock Hard felt like this was the conduit through which the Forbidden Door opened and passed through. That's clearly not what's going on right now. So who knows? Full pillars are going to talk. They're going to talk. FTR is going to talk, and then Satnam and Jay are going to come out and counter the talk, and then that'll be that. There will be guitars, there will be a Mark Briscoe spot, I'm sure, and yada yada. And then the contract signing for Double or Nothing, you've got Jericho and Adam Cole, baby.
If it's unsanctioned, why do you need to sign a contract?
Unless it's a hold harmless, I don't see why you would.
I wouldn't sign it. It's an unsanctioned match. I don't want to hold harmless thing. Just let's fight. Let me kill you.
Yeah, you turn the lights off, you turn the lights on. That tells you it's an unsanctioned match, and that's it. Lady Frost versus Taya Valkyrie. We of course expect Taya Valkyrie to go over there, but Lady Frost will have a good showing. And for the ROH World Tag Team Championships, Lucha Bros take on Wheeler Yuta and Claudio Castagnoli. This is a match that feels like the Elite will get involved afterwards, if I had to guess.
I don't need this ROH stuff on AEW, especially the week of a pay-per-view. Like, just ROH has its own show. Put the Lucha Bros on that. I know Tony's done a better job of not blending it. It's like, oh, well, they're the champions. You got enough titles. Stop it.
3 matches, 1 announcement, 4 in-ring segments. That's your go home.
I mean, last week was a little weird, where it opened with the Wardlow Christian segment, and then it closed with the Elite Blackpool segment. And both those segments were good, but that's just, usually you think of AEW, you think of the hot opening match, you think of the hot closing match. And here they ended with 2 good in-ring segments, mind you. I don't have a problem with either of them. Like the Elite Blackpool segment, Hangman's Return, was great. Their main event, their technical wrestling main event, ended in a DQ. Like last week's show got a lot of praise, and it was very good, but the layout of the shows recently has been little not what we're used to with AEW. It doesn't make it a bad thing, but I would like to see them, get back to the hot opening match and then the hot closing match as well. Because it seems like, I could be completely wrong. Where's Will Washington to give me the data on all of this? It seems like we've opened with a lot of promo segments recently when we haven't needed to.
It feels to me like the ROH World Tag Titles will open the show so that we can do the Elite Blackpool Combat Club stuff early, get that out of the way in that first hour. The crossover will be the contract signing between Jericho and Cole, and the main event will be Cassidy and Fletcher, and it'll end with everyone in the ring battling it out, being like, we have a big battle royal on Sunday, we're out of time. I feel like that's the way it'll go. I do think the International Championship will be the main event, though.
I think Pillars close.
If anything, Pillars will be the cross hour.
I mean, yeah, but I think Pillars close this show. They're going to close that pay-per-view. They're going to main event the pay-per-view. I think Pillars close this show, and I think they need a strong home run segment as the final, especially because Rampage is taped. I don't even know what time Rampage is on this week because it changes every single week.
Saturday this week.
Okay, so there you go. I think Pillars close, and I think there's a decent amount of pressure on them to deliver a pretty knockout segment because, I mean, we talked about it with Andreas, but the build on this, and we've talked about it in previous weeks, the build on this ain't the best. So I think they close, and I think they're going to have a lot of pressure on themselves to like really, really do a hard sell on this because we ran down the card. The card is what it is. Right now, Blackpool and Elite feels like the biggest match, but Pillars is going to be the main event, and Pillars is what you're banking everything on, and they're going to need a big time segment. And I think you put them in the closing spot because if you put them at 8:30 or even the cross segment, it doesn't feel as big. Like it does not feel as big. You got to close out with that.
It's a good point. We're going to find out tonight what happens on Dynamite. There's a lot of talk, which I guess Raw just did the same thing with their past week on Monday night leading into Afternoon of Champions. But we'll be back on Friday. We've got plenty to talk about. I mean, we've got 3 big shows, 4 if you count NXT, to run down.
Wait a second.
You like that one? Gotcha. Hey, like I said, Impact is actually the only live show airing on Friday. Everything else is taped, so what do you care?
Anyway, I mean, it is. That's very. I forgot. I kind of forgot Impact was on. I forgot I'm gonna have to be around to cover that. That's unfortunate.
Anyway, plenty of stuff to talk about. We'll be back 10 a.m. on Friday. Jeremy, plug the stuff. Let's get out of here.
I don't have anything to plug. Just check out everything we got going on Fightful Overbooked. Media call tomorrow, Thursday, at a time to be determined. It'll be noon or 5 or 6 or sometime tomorrow. We're gonna do a media call.
Still think they should have sent Alex to do the HBK call, but we'll see. Till then,
Alex will be on the media call tomorrow. I promise everybody. He can call in with a question of his own. Maybe I'll have a write-in question. Alex Pulowski on tomorrow's media call.
There we go. I am at Joel Pearl, JOELPEARL. We drop content every day here at Fightful Overbooked. If you haven't yet, leave a thumbs up and also drop a subscribe on this video. Get us in your friends' ears. Let's hang out sometime. We will be back on Friday. Come check out all the stuff here on Overbooked. Until then, ladies, gentlemen, friends beyond the binary, we'll see you in the next one.